Police accountability. We're opening the discussion again tonight after the killing of Tyre Nichols. The 29-year-old Sacramento native was beaten to death in Memphis, Tennessee. And video of his beating, which we are choosing not to show onto the point, was released just this past Friday. And since the video's release, a sixth Memphis police officer has been, quote, relieved of duty for his involvement in the beating. He was at the traffic stop before Tyree was arrested. Memphis police is also disbanding the specialized unit the officers worked in. And 3 Memphis Fire Department employees have been fired in connection with the incident. Police say the EMTs broke protocol by failing to do a full assessment of Tyree. And Tyree was a son, brother, and friend. Friends say that he had light energy, happiness, and joy. He loved to skateboard, and he had a passion for photography. His family says that he was on his way home from taking pictures in Memphis on the night that police stopped him. And right now, people are coming together at Regency Skate Park in North Natomas to honor the life of Tyree. Roxanne Elias is there right now. And Roxanne, people are coming together at this specific skate park because this is exactly where Tyree would skate, right?
It is, Alex. Several family members, friends, leaders are here to honor his life and remember him. They're lighting candles, they're bringing balloons, they're going to be talking about Tyree. And speaking of Tyree, we have a friend of his, Tyre Hills, who's here all the way from the Bay Area. Tyre, can you share with us, for people that did not know Tyree, what kind of person was he?
The easiest way to describe it is he's literally like the best person you could ever meet. Like, just super kind, super like soulful, super helpful, super like welcoming. Like in terms, like he welcomed me into like Denver, the skating community. So probably one of like the most like comfortable people you could ever be around, definitely.
And you say you grew up with him. What was he like growing up and being in the skating community?
He was, I mean, just like how anyone would describe it, like just super chill, super cool, just like always down to skate, always down. Like he was the type of person who like when he'll watch you skate, he'll offer to film for you, he'll offer to like encourage you, he like pushes you on, like he'll try to teach you a trick if you really wanted to learn. But then like he'll be down like all day long, like we'll be kicking it all day long skating, and he'll just just be there. He was just just always there.
And one last question for those who did not know him as well. How would you guys want for him to be remembered?
Just without the video and without the pictures and stuff, like just the montage skate videos and the pictures that he takes, just that. Like I think that people need to see that. I think that's his legacy, and his kid too. Like that's his legacy. So
thank you so much, Tyre.
Thank you.
Now, right behind us, we're going to be hearing from the family in just a few moments. We'll, of course, bring you that later on tonight at 11. Alex, back to you in studio.
All right, Roxanne, thank you. And Tyre Nichols will be laid to rest on Wednesday at a Memphis church. There will also be a vigil at the Sac Ramp Skate Shop in South Sacramento this Saturday. That's on February 4th, and that's from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. The business wrote on their Instagram, quote, "We will stand up together to celebrate his life and family." And the death of Tyre Nichols at the hands of Memphis police officers has amplified calls for reform in the culture of law enforcement. We saw some in the wake of George Floyd's murder back in 2020, some calling to defund the police, others calling for more focus on community-based mental health crisis response teams. So we decided to turn to community leaders here to ask what they would like to see change.
We do see a pattern and a trend of police killing people and hurting people in the city and nationwide.
Tanya Faison is the founder of Black Lives Matter Sacramento.
We know that this moment will happen again. How will other law enforcement agencies respond throughout the country in this moment?
Barry Axius, Sacramento community leader and founder of Voice of the Youth, says he thinks the culture of law enforcement needs reform everywhere, not just in Memphis.
Is there one or two changes that you would point to locally where you say, this is something that I'm pushing for that needs to change ASAP?
We're fighting for the removal of gang enforcement teams and gang units. Sheriff has the gang suppression unit, and then the SAC PD has the gang enforcement team. And they literally go to neighborhoods like Oak Park, Valley High, Meadowview, and they pull over people just for driving down the street. They say, oh, it's because your windows are tinted, or it's because your name is so-and-so, and we know who you used to be a gang member, and so we want to search your car.
We took these concerns to the Sacramento Police Department and Sacramento County Sheriff's Office.
We don't have the ability to simply pull people over for no reason, search them for no reason, and without any type of liability or oversight.
Sergeant Amar Gandhi is now the spokesperson for the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office since Sheriff Jim Cooper took office in December, but prior to this, he supervised the gang suppression unit.
If you are participating in gang activity, organized crime, or hanging out or associating with those that are, you will definitely be contacted by our gang unit. And that is not by accident, that is not by mistake, but it's also not by any particular racial group either. We are targeting criminals. We're targeting folks that are going out there doing violent crimes.
Sacramento police told ABC 10 the Sacramento Police Department positions gang teams in affected areas of the city in response to the ongoing violence that has plagued Sacramento for decades, as most recently witnessed in the 2022 K Street shooting, amongst others. All officers at the Sacramento Police Department received training in procedural justice, racial profiling, implicit bias, de-escalation techniques, crisis intervention techniques, the critical decision-making model, and cultural competency, with members of the gang units receiving additional training.
We have a lot of work to do here in Sacramento. I think that, I see Sac PD trying to make a move for better. There's definitely still more work for them. Sac Sheriff, even though we have a new person at the head, there's a lot more work, it seems to be, for them. Just in our own local community, there's a lot. And it's not only law enforcement. I don't believe that you can't just depend on a culture changing with law enforcement if a culture is not changing within our community and within ourselves.
And Becca joins me now. Becca, we know that the ex-officers who attacked Tyree, they were part of a special unit, the Scorpion unit. Right. And they're a specialized a team, right?
Yeah. The Memphis police chief said that she thinks some kind of group think set in among those officers as they beat Nichols. I asked the Sacramento County Sheriff's spokesperson about that. He told me, first of all, quote, the people most angry about cops doing bad things are good cops because they tarnish everything we're working toward every day, he said. He added there should be multiple layers of oversight within law enforcement agencies. In the Sacramento County Sheriff's gang suppression unit, for example, he says 2 lieutenants and a captain oversee it. It's housed in the Central Investigations Division right next to the homicide and robbery units. There are body-worn cameras, something they didn't start wearing until 2021, I should add, after a lot of community organizations, including the NAACP, advocated for that. He said there are many systems in place to prevent members of the gang units from going rogue or falling into groupthink.
And we know that a lot of people here feel targeted, even profiled by the police or sheriff's deputies here in our community.
Right. Black Lives Matter Sacramento's founder told me there are some people who, for example, were involved in a gang, served their time, and are now out trying to live productive lives, but they feel targeted due to their former involvement.
And what does she propose as an alternative to gang units, for example? What does she think?
Well, she says it's foundational issues, and they start by, fixing those start by bringing meaningful resources to communities. She says once people have their needs met, they're less likely to seek those needs in harmful ways.
All right, Becca, thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, after the break, another mass shooting in California, how media coverage of these events has changed. California was plagued with 4 mass shootings last week. The shooting in Monterey Park and Half Moon Bay left far too many people dead. It shook many California communities to their core, and investigations are still just getting underway. And there was another mass shooting in Los Angeles just over the weekend. 3 people were killed and 4 others were hurt. Ayanna Hutton, Nia Davis, and Destiny Sims all lost their lives, and police still don't know who shot them or why. And then over in Half Moon Bay, farm workers have since gone back to work at the mushroom farm where 4 of their co-workers were killed. Another 3 people were killed at another farm. And the shootings have also raised questions about what the conditions at these farms and others like them. County officials say that they found workers living in storage containers with no insulation or running water. And now the governor's office is investigating. And 26-year-old Brandon Shea, who stopped the Monterey Park gunman at a second location, was honored at a Lunar New Year festival in Alhambra yesterday. Police gave him a Medal of Courage for his bravery. And over the past decade or so, many news organizations, including us here at ABC 10, have moved towards focusing most of our coverage of mass shootings on the victims and who they were, and away from giving the shooter any attention that they may have sought. So unless the suspect is on the loose, a lot of news outlets won't show the shooter's photo or talk much about even her backstory. And we spoke today with an expert on media coverage of mass shootings, and she says that we can take it a step further by not even reporting the shooter's name.
The reality is that their name doesn't change the storyline. You can still hear who, what, when, where, why, and how without having to put a name. We know that they want to be famous. So why would we basically reward them and give them what they want for killing people? And then also signaling to like-minded individuals that if they go out and kill people, they're also going to get rewarded. So I think we have to balance our need to know with people's right to live.
That's something that we've been grappling with on our show. How do you keep people informed while balancing real-world consequences of media coverage? All right, after the break, not one or two, but 3 cars have now been swallowed by a sinkhole in the Tracy area. All right, let's get things over to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods. Another thing people are talking about is all this cold weather this morning.
Oh, I know. Alex, we started off with temperatures in the 30s this morning, but with that wind, it felt like it was in the 20s. That's where we started off in Marysville at 29 degrees, feeling more like the lower 20s again with that wind. 11 degrees below zero for Truckee, warming only to 19 later today. 50s for much of the valley, across the coast as well. 40s to near 50 for the foothills. And the one thing to keep in mind is frost and freeze with near freezing lows continuing for the next couple of days. So a couple of cold weather safety items is clothing, dress in layers, because we are going to warm up nicely during the afternoon, but it's the morning that is going to be so bitterly cold. So providing shelter and limiting time outside for people, pets, as well as plants. Our winds are still at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, so there's still a bit of a breeze out there. Temperatures currently in the 40s in the valley and most of the foothills. We've dropped to 36 for Nevada City and 38 for Angels Camp. Only 7 right now for Truckee. All that rain sliding its way southward here through Southern California, and that's going to stay with us at least through the evening, and then everybody's clearing out, but it does stay quite cold. Highs will warm into the 30s tomorrow for the Sierra, but lows right around 0 to about 3 below 0 for much of the Tahoe Basin. Highs are warming into the 50s for the foothills, but again, 20s and 30s to start us off tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, one of the coldest days we'll see in quite some time. 40s and 30s across the coast. We warm to highs in the 50s and 20s and 30s inland for the valley. Highs will warm into the 50s. So we've got that next chance of rain heading our way by Friday, and it's going to be a mixed bag of weather over the first weekend of February. Dry on Saturday, rain returning on Sunday, and dry next week. A little warmer as well, Alex.
All right, Monica, thank you. COVID-19 changed the world as we knew it in many ways that we didn't expect. Take the housing market, for example. There was a huge boom thanks to remote working, and that's something that we've been covering right here on To The Point with investigative reporter Andy Judson. And Andy is working on yet another update on the ever-changing housing market, because many realtors and housing experts say that we're in for a wild ride.
It felt like a piranha feeding frenzy.
I would say, we toured north of 20 and put a bid in on close to 10.
A global pandemic happens. Lots of people are thinking the market's gonna go down, or there were all these predictions, and then it did something that I think nobody expected. It was like a steroid was injected into the market.
To say during COVID that's the normal market. That's not.
We're pretty close to should we continue to rent.
We were reporting really aggressive housing stats, massive demand, and then mortgage rates said, hold my beer.
How do I keep my clients calm?
We've basically seen the largest increase, the sharpest increase in mortgage rates in the past 40 years, over the past few months.
Investigative reporter Andy Judson joins me now, and you've been covering the housing crisis and really the ups and downs of it. Tell me about your latest story, though.
Yeah, so during the pandemic, we saw the housing market just go really red hot. One of the experts we talked to for this story actually called it the most aggressive housing market that he's ever seen. But that changed with interest rates doubling. And if you're trying to buy a home now, you know that the high interest rates have really gotten a lot of those buyers and sellers having a more difficult time. It's really starting to slow down. So it's been interesting watching the progression from before the pandemic to now.
Yeah, and you talked to a lot of experts for this investigation. Was there anything that really surprised you, though, through this reporting?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, it was really a seller's market with the homes really just selling like hotcakes, especially in our area, as a lot of people migrated from the Bay Area to Sacramento for more room. But now it's becoming actually more of a buyer's market. So that is really surprising. And of course, we'll dig into that more tomorrow.
Yep, a lot to discuss. So don't miss Andy's story about hot and cold NorCal's housing market tomorrow right here at 6:30 p.m. Andy, thank you as always.
Thank you.
We can always rely on our good friend John Bartel to give us a different perspective on the life from the back roads of California. So tonight we hop on over to Humboldt County to find inner peace along the rugged coastline of the Sinkhion Wilderness.
200 miles north of San Francisco, there's a remote state park located inside of California's Lost Coast region. It's known as the Sinkhion Wilderness, and it's one of the few stretches of coastline left undeveloped and unchanged since the California Gold Rush. Shaped by earthquakes and pounded by waves and fog, this place is so rugged that paved roads couldn't be built here. In fact, the only way to explore this state park is to drive down a very bumpy and windy one-lane dirt path.
As rugged as this drive is, it is honestly just gorgeous. We're in like a rainforest right now.
The wilderness is the main attraction at this state park, and it's not uncommon for a herd of Roosevelt elk to be grazing or resting in the limited parking spaces.
There aren't a lot of amenities here. It's part of what makes this place beautiful.
Other than the rustic visitor center and a few camping spots, Park Ranger Marnin Robbins says the land here looks almost the way it did when the Sinkhion tribe lived here.
They were able to keep this wonderful standard of living here for so long through their tending of this landscape. It was a Garden of Eden.
For more than 1,000 years, the ocean provided the Sinkhion with much of their food and the forest with much of their shelter. But when gold was discovered in California, the Sinkhion's way of life was taken from them.
There was an idea of manifest destiny, that this place belonged to the white man.
In the 1950s, settlers began logging the Sinkhion's land. A conflict with the tribe led to the Needle Rock Massacre. The settlers slaughtered many of the Sinkhion tribe members.
It was a dark time in our history, and it's important for people to know that, and to also realize that those Native people are still here with us today, and that we have a lot to learn from them.
Hiking trails throughout the park take you through the Sinkhion's territory. There's little trace of the settlers' old logging camps left, and that's because the plants and animals have reclaimed the land.
You know, if you ever wanted to contemplate some big things in life, this is definitely the place to do it.
The Sinkhion Wilderness is a marine protected area, home to birds, fish, and whales, all of which you can see if you're patient and respectful.
This is a transformational place. There's very few places, especially in California, where you can have a true feeling of solitude.
From the rugged coastline in the Sinkhion Wilderness, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
Talk about breathtaking. All right, you can find all of John's adventures from the backroads on abc10.com/backroads, or you can just text the word backroads to 916-321-3310. We'll send a map straight to your phone so you can plan your own adventure. And before we go, I just want to say I hope you're having a great Monday. Hope you're having a great night. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.